Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Davina. And today I have an amazing guest. Today's guest is a dynamic speaker, author, and powerhouse behind Flawless Life Coaching, Tomeka Jones, a 23-year U.S. Air Force veteran turned transformational life coach. Tamika helps women break free from limiting beliefs and embrace their flaws as strengths. Her journey from self doubt to unstoppable confidence is nothing short of inspiring. She was featured on NBC, Canva Rebel, and Bold Journey magazine. She empowers women everywhere to rise, rewrite their stories, and live unapologetically. So, welcome to the show, Tamika. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me in your space. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I am so excited that you're on today. You have such a powerful story, and we met audience maybe a couple weeks ago, and Tamika is absolutely amazing. She's kind, just genuine, and just a beautiful person inside out. So Tamika, can you share a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you?
So I'm Tomeka Jones. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida. Grew up in South Carolina, outskirts of Myrtle Beach. I am a veteran, 23 years. I served 23 years in the Air Force. And after my transition out of the Air Force, I decided to jump into life coaching. So I'm a nurse as well. So I did nurse. I got my degree while I was in the military as a nurse and served as a nurse. Yeah, that's pretty much the backstory. A little bit of my backstory, but yeah, that's where it all started.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds like not only were you, helping in the military and working in that field, but also, just got your degree in nursing and you're helping people who are going through transitions and feeling like that self-doubt and so many different things. So it sounds like through your professional life, you have transitioned into a couple different fields and you went to school, you did a couple things. And, I know with many transitions, it can be stressful. Can you share a little bit about just how you navigated your seasons of stress in your life and throughout your career?
So, for how I navigated different stressful seasons in my life, one particular season was a couple years ago, me navigating or transitioning out of the military, and that was a transformation by itself because 23 years in the military, and then that goes for a lot of us. We're in the military for so long, and then we transition out as veterans. We go back and we ask ourselves, so we stop and ask ourselves, who are we? What do we want in life? Who am I? How do I adapt now to a society that I know nothing about? I only knew the military, right, for all these years. And basically, I have a routine in the military. I know how to execute. All the things is in place for you to hit the ground running every day. But transitioning out of the military and into civilian life, it's like you're like a little fish or a little pebble in a sea, right? So you definitely have to find ways and people to help you to navigate through life, period. And resources. And one resource that, I'm not gonna say well dropped in my lap, but one resource that I had it's a nonprofit organization called Grace After Fire. So after I retired from the military, they'll give you a program to where you can do like an internship to find out what it is you want to do after your military, just help you with that transition. So I decided to go with the nonprofit organization, which was Grace After Fire. So I interned with them. And during that time, I had a pleasure of meeting with the CEO of Grace After Fire. And we met and we were sitting down having lunch, and she asked me a simple but profound question. She said, Tamika, who are you? And I was like, oh, I'm a nurse. She's like, no, no, no. Who are you? I'm a single mom. I'm a Christian. I started labeling, saying all these things, and she told me to stop. She said, hey, take a step back. Who are you to the core? Who is Tamika? What do Tamika desire? What does she like? What don't she like? What are her passions? And I couldn't answer her. I couldn't answer her because a lot of times we get so caught up with the accolades, the titles, the degrees, all the things, right, that society tells us who we are, that we forget the simple things of just being still to take time to learn who we really are. So that's when my self healing journey came about, was my transitioning after the military. And I knew I wanted to give back, right? Because DNA service is in my DNA, giving back, hence why I joined the military, why I became a nurse, and why I'm a life coach. It's just in me to help other people, just like yourself. So after that, like I said, I went on a self-healing journey and hired a life coach who walked me through my journey, my struggles, my grief, my pain, my sorrows. It was rough, but I did it. I did it. So yeah, that's pretty much my journey.
That's powerful. That's really powerful that you used, that experience of just, well, first you connected. You connected with a resource that was going to help you get out of the spot that you were in. You were trying to figure out where to go from here. And once you connected with that resource, it blossomed into so much more than you ever could have expected, which is beautiful.
Yep.
So, thank you for sharing that. Connecting with resources is so important because you never know who you're going to connect with. You never know who you're going to meet and how they're going to help you to get to the next part of your journey in life and to help you become the person that you're trying to I don't know, just guide yourself to be those goals that you're looking for that you may not even know exist within. So connecting with resources is such a powerful thing, and thank you for just letting people know that connect, talk to people. So I know you mentioned, you connected with that particular resource and that helped you. Can you share if there were any moments where you maybe went through some self-doubt, or if felt like, what, this is tough, going through what you're going through as you transitioned. Can you help someone with maybe some things that you may have said to yourself or some things that you may have done to help you realize, what, it's worth continuing to move forward, although you may feel like you're stuck or you're just having a tough time, or you may have that self doubt coming in? What are some things you can recommend?
So for me, it was the moment I made up in my mind that I was going to step out into my purpose and passion in life and to help others on a different level, which is through coaching and to own my own business. So as a entrepreneur, we all have those woes, those financial struggles, those emotional, all the struggles, right? As an entrepreneur. So that was a struggle by itself, being a single parent, having to show up at school for my daughter, having to take her to after school programs, having to show up on live, on pod, doing all the things, right? So for me, I had to take a step back and say, okay, I need to not even find balance because I don't think in life we're ever balanced. Something is always going to be out of balance. But for me, it was just being whole, right? And time management and giving myself grace. Okay, so what? I can't make that PTO meeting this time. I'll email the organizer of the PTO and say, hey, did I miss anything? That thing. So I can't be everywhere at one time. So I had to prioritize life itself. And sometimes we have to do that, take a step back and say, okay, what's important? And I can only do what I can do, one thing at a time, right? I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'm just going to take one day at a time and get through it one day at a time, right? Because a lot of times stress does, you get overwhelmed and you get discouraged when things don't go your way. And I've been there with the discouragement, one door a close, right? You think you're going in one direction and for example, applying for a grant. Okay, I'm applying for this grant, doing all the things. I got this in the bag. And then you don't get approved for that grant, right? But then you have that small window over here that may open for you. Someone may say, hey, come to this networking event. I have someone I want you to collaborate with on an event or something. So you have that window over here that opens. So you have to appreciate those small wins whenever you're going through any type of contrast, you know. And what helped me is to continue to affirm those things in life, affirmations and journaling and knowing like when to stay still. I think we have a problem with that. I have a problem with just staying still and listening, right? Just listening. So yeah.
I totally agree with you. Affirmations are something that I do on a regular basis, and I always recommend journaling as well as a way to kind of get through stress, loneliness, grief, just those life transitions that may be occurring because sometimes you have thoughts going on in your mind. And if you get them down, it's helpful. Or sometimes you need to pick yourself up because we all don't have people around us to encourage us. So I usually recommend to my clients to write down a couple things that they, you know, to be thankful for in their journal and
Mhm.
to reflect back on those things when they're having a difficult time. If they do it on a regular basis, they can see a track record of things to be thankful
Yes.
for, grateful for, and it's very helpful to do that. I think personally, and I think a lot of my clients who have tried it agree that it's something that helped them, especially in those tough moments where you feel like, goodness, I don't have anyone, or things are not turning out the way that you thought that they would. Some of those times it can be like the darkest and toughest moments in your life. But if you can reflect on some of the good things that's happening, and it can help
Mhm.
you put one foot in front of the other to keep going.
And even in the healing process, with that, I don't rush my healing. When I'm going through things, I don't rush it. And that's very important not to rush your healing because you need the grace. You need the time to feel the sadness, the anger, the numbness, all the emotions, right? We need to feel that, and then leave it where it's at, right? Give yourself permission to leave it where it's at.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't rush it. Sometimes, hearing from different people who expect you to be okay at a certain point, or you should be able to get through that or get over that by a certain standard that they have for you. And I agree with you. Don't rush that process. Have your own standpoint of, you know what, am I okay today? And start doing some self check in instead of what other people may be thinking that you should be at that present time. And I totally agree. Give yourself grace. I know for myself, I don't do it enough. And I know I usually share, give yourself grace, but really do that. And even if you have to remind yourself to maybe have a little sticky note or a post it or some type of reminder, even a phone screen on your phone, put a
Yes.
picture that says, give yourself grace, something to remind
Yes.
yourself when you know you're going through those difficult times to give yourself grace because it can be tough. It can be tough, especially if you're
Yes.
feeling lonely or just like you don't have anyone to support you.
Yeah, it's so important to have that sisterhood tribe, or like you said, anyone to support, because we're not born to be here alone, to do things alone, right? So
Right?
I think that's key to having that support system, and that's what someone like you or myself, your organization or myself, come into play to not only help and provide resources, but to walk with them on their journey. I say I have a therapist and a life coach, right? My therapist helped me with my past, my past trauma, childhood trauma, brokenness, and then my life coach holds my hand and walk with me into my future. So I have both, and it's okay to have both.
Yes, I agree with you. It's
Yes.
okay. And I think that's where a lot of sometimes it depends on our past and the things that we were taught in life. Sometimes it's, I don't know, in certain situations we were taught that it's not okay to maybe go through therapy, or was shunned or looked upon negatively, or that it's not okay to talk about certain things like grief or things that may have happened in your life. And I think
Mhm.
it's time to kind of share that it is okay. It is
Yes.
okay to receive that help. It is okay to talk about things that's bothering you, or that you're hurt about, or if you're grieving. It's okay to do those things because that's how you get to your healing journey. That's
Yes.
a part of your healing journey, and that's how you get to that healing process. So
Absolutely.
I encourage anyone who is listening, if you're going through something, find and connect either through myself or Tomeka, or someone that you can talk to on a regular basis that's going to help you get through those moments that you're needing to get through to heal, to get through stress, loneliness, or grief, or whatever it is that you may be going through. You need someone to support you to get through that. Tamika, just I know you talked about transitions and things that you went through throughout your life. Have you ever gone through a period where you felt lonely? And if you did, how did you get through it? And if not, what are some steps that you kind of got through if you ever felt lonely? Or what would you recommend for someone who is feeling lonely if you did not go through something like that?
I think just for off the, just thinking about the situation, was my time. time that I was stationed overseas in England, I was stationed overseas as a new nurse, and I was having challenges as a new nurse. I was having challenges with my leadership training me, and I was getting written up, just all the things. I was just there by myself. I didn't have my daughter there. It was just me. The only friend that I did kind of have, she worked a different shift and really couldn't do anything together. But I had other, associates at the time. But I just felt alone. I felt dark. I felt like I was in a dark place, right? Even though, I knew God and I would pray and do the things, but I was so lonely, even with traveling and doing all the things. But that moment that I would get back when I would go back to work will be the moment where I feel lonely and anxious and just all these mixed feelings because I wasn't in a good space or a good place. There were times where I contemplated doing undesirable things at that time because I was so lonely and I was broken physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things as a new nurse, as a new officer in the military, as all things. It was just traumatic for me. That experience for me was traumatic, but it was a defining moment for me if I was going to let that turn me into a bitter, negative person, or if I was going to push through it and help the next person, the next new nurse, the next woman, the next new officer go through the same thing that I've gone through at that duty station with those my leadership at that time. But it was horrible, but I pressed through. Right, and everything happens for a reason, season, or lifetime. We just have to figure out which category to put it in. But that was my season to go through it. And during that time, I think over 5 people had died in my family. I wasn't able to go back home to the funerals because of the Manning issue. So it was ugly. It was real ugly. But I got through it.
Oh, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing just about your journey and what you went through and how you pressed forward, even though you went through so much. And then to lose family members and not really have that opportunity to be there to grieve with everyone, that's really difficult. Would you talk a little bit about your faith and how your faith played a role in any of the situations that you discussed or haven't discussed? And, what are some things that you can share maybe with the audience on ways that you use your faith to get through those moments that you struggle with?
So I do. I believe in a higher power, universe, God, whatever you call your higher power. But I do believe in a higher power, God, and I do rely and depend on Him every day. And every morning, I make a conscious decision to get up. When I get up, hit my feet on the ground, I give gratitude. Gratitude is my attitude first thing in the morning, right? And then I go into meditation. Meditation helps ground me, helps center me and help me to start my day, meditating on the things I need to do, meditating on where I'm at in my life, just to know, trying to find what word to how to explain it. So
It's
for,
okay,
for
take your
meditation
time.
for me, like I said, is everything. Even if you have 5 minutes, like I said, to go out in nature to just be in still period. Let's just go with that. Just be in still period and just allowing God to talk to you. When we pray to God, we meditate, we allow God to talk to us, right? In those still moments. So meditating, we talked about journaling. Definitely journal every day. I have affirmation sticky notes on my bathroom mirror, in my computer room, on my refrigerator, and every morning before I drop my daughter off at school, not only do I do it, but she do it. And every morning before she go into the building, she says that I'm bold, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm a child of God, I'm a leader, not a follower. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God protect my school and bless my family. And then I send her off and I say, make good choices every morning. Every morning we say our affirmations. So that's a big part of our lives. And I tell her, and I'm telling you as well, listeners, whenever we do speak these things over our lives, we say them, but we have to feel them. Not only do we have to feel these things, we have to believe it. So you can say all these pretty affirmations, but if you're not feeling it and connecting with it, and if you're not believing it, it's pointless, right? So we have to do all these things and just know every moment of grief has birthed you into something greater. Don't let your pain define you. Let it refine you. Okay.
Wow, that's powerful for sure. I definitely wanted to kind of go back a little bit to you said every morning you do your meditation, and that's something that I can definitely relate with you. Without doing my meditation and prayer in the morning, I am a totally different person. So I make it a point to make sure that every morning when I get up, that that's the first thing I do because it sets my day. And it sounds like it sets yours too,
Yes.
to
Yes,
be
it
the
does.
person that you want to be the person that, I don't know, for me, who God called me to be, and to do the things that I am called to do within my journey of life. So I think if you don't have some type of routine or schedule, um and maybe you're not a morning person, maybe you work in the evenings or at night and you don't, your schedule is split, but find time throughout your day and dedicate that time to doing something that means something for you.
Yeah, and meditation doesn't always have to mean, because some people scared of that word, right? Meditation. It's just being still, right? It's just being still and just being still and present in the moment, right? You can even cut on music. It doesn't have to have words to it, but just something to just woosah you, right? Zen.
Yeah, something to, kind of get yourself reflecting on life, how you would like to see your future, reflecting on, like you said, positive words of affirmation,
Yes,
really believing in the things that you speak. It could be prayer, whatever it is that you need to do to pull yourself together from all the chaos that may be happening. I call it the roller coaster of life. Seriously, we're all on this
yes,
roller coaster. And it's chaotic sometimes because we're constantly going up and down just trying to figure out life. But I think if we stop, just like what Tomeka says, stop and reflect, and whether it's meditation, prayer, whether it's turning on music. Maybe you're a dancer and you prefer to just dance in
yes,
the morning or whenever you want to, but find something that works for you, that's going to help you to just gather your thoughts, bring yourself in to reflect on yourself and your future and things that
absolutely.
you want to
Absolutely.
accomplish. I think it totally makes a difference. So,
I agree.
thank you. So, you talked about flaws being your greatest strength. Can you share a specific moment where you perceived a flaw, but it became the key to overcoming a challenge?
One of my flaws that I always said that I have is public speaking. I fear public speaking, and I stumble over my words. I stutter, my voice is cracky, my hands get sweaty. I can't articulate my words like everyone else, all the things, right, when it comes to public speaking. But once I did the work and peel back the layers as to why it wasn't public speaking. And I told myself, oh, it's just stage fright. It's not stage fright either, right? It's a fear of being vulnerable, a fear of not being connected or not being good enough or not being or being good enough, all these fears, but I labeled it as public speaking. So once I started to speak, flip those fears, those self-limiting beliefs that I told myself and that other people may have told me, or even my mom growing up, I silenced myself for years because that's how I grew up. My mom grew up in the South. You go to school, you sit in the back of the class, hair it down, don't ask questions, don't cause no smoke. So that's kind of how I lived my life, right? In the background, pretty much a mute, only spoke when I had to speak, didn't want to step out, always played small. So as I grew up, that's kind of how I lived. But my purpose and passion is pulling me towards speaking, and sharing my story and helping women to overcome their adversities. So this isn't Tomeka, because once again, Tomeka labeled herself as a public speaker, so it has to be something greater than me. But I'm flipping, my self-limiting beliefs and saying, no, I can do this. My flaw, is my superpower, right? It's who I am. It's who God made me. So I can flip it, right? And I can move forward with it and step into my purpose and passion and something greater than just my limiting beliefs, right? Same with my birthmark. I never wore a swimsuit or tank top in public because of my flaw, my birthmark. And that's kind of how flawless life coaching and everything developed, was my flaws, my birthmark, my lazy eye, my alopecia, my all the things that we tear ourselves apart and we call them our flaws. But that is our superpower. That makes us. That makes me unique. That makes you unique, right? And the beautiful thing about it is there's only one of my DNA, my gene, my strands, and there's only one you, right? So no one can be Tomeka. No one can be you. You're perfectly made, right? Molded and shaped into you. Kind of how I turn my flaws to my superpowers. And we all have them. And, we think of flaws. We think the word flawless. We think of something aesthetically beautiful. We think of the J-Lo's, the Beyonce, all the things, right? But it's not about that. My definition of flawless: self-love, confidence, resilience, owning who you are, walking in your truth, being the best version of yourself, and loving yourself unapologetically.
I love that. Love it. That was amazing how you just wrap that all together. So, what would you say to if someone is listening today and they feel lost, they have this fear that seems to be crippling them to move forward? What's the first step you think that they should take toward reclaiming their confidence and their purpose?
Whenever something negative come up, or some it could be, I don't feel I'm ready for this opportunity, or I want to write this book, but I don't think I'm a publisher. I'm not a writer. We have to take a step back and self reflect and get to the why, and not even the whys, but flip that belief if you can. I'm not a writer. I want to tell my story, but I'm not a writer. No, I want to tell my story, and I hold a pen to my story. Nobody can tell my story but me. So it's the way we look at things. We have to change our mindset, and change that belief. It's so easy to say, and kind of hard to do. But once you start doing it and replacing that negative self talk with positive self talk, the more you do it, the more it will come easier and easier. And every day when you wake up, you ask yourself, who am I becoming? What woman do I want to become? And how am I showing up day to day? At my child's school, at work, even in a restaurant, how am I showing up? And then once we start asking ourselves those questions and start flipping our beliefs over time, we'll be able to step out, a little more. We'll be able to get over, one hurdle, or get the job that we always wanted, but never will fear to step out, to get it because of whatever limiting belief we had. We'll be able to flip that and just take a step towards applying for it, So those are some of the things I suggest. Is step one is just trying to take a step back, and instead of allowing that negative belief to consume you, kind of flip it. And then the more you do it, like I said, the more easier it becomes.
All right. Well, Tomeka, thank you so much for coming on today. I totally just appreciate you for sharing all of your nuggets and your strength and your guidance with us, because the audience, I'm sure, has gotten so much from what you shared. So, if someone is interested in connecting with you to receive support and guidance, how would they get in contact with you?
My website is www.flawlesslifecoaching.com, and all of my social media handles are Flawless Life Coaching. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. Yes. Yeah. And then
Wonderful.
one quick takeaway, one quick and just feel led to give an affirmation, my go-to affirmation that I always use. So if you want to write this down, y'all can write this down. But everything is working out for your greater good, no matter how it looks. I'll say it two more times, right? Everything is working out for your greater good, no matter how it looks. Everything is working out for your greater good, no matter how it looks. So meaning whatever you're going through, if you trusting and believing that everything is going to work out, it has to, because you're going to align yourself with it. And it has to work out. It has to. Trust and believe the process. Thank
I
you.
love that. Definitely. Speak it out loud, speak it into existence, and it will come to pass.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on. I
Thank you for
appreciate
having
you.
me.
I just love everything that you shared, and you're an amazing person. And everyone, if you are interested, don't be scared. Definitely reach out to Tomeka, because she
Yes.
is an amazing, like I said, powerhouse, and she will help you. And she's
Yes.
genuine. That's the beauty of it. What you see is what you get, and
Yes.
she is absolutely amazing, and she's there to support and help you through your journey.
Yes. Yes.
If you're interested in connecting with a Caring Voice for You, please feel free to reach out to us at caringvoiceforyou.com to learn more. And until next time, everyone, take care.